Honestly, before we even get into the video, I'm not gonna lie, I've been really lazy lately and slacking. I haven't been doing a whole lot. I mean, the video you're seeing right now has been scripted for like an entire month before I get around to doing it. And work on the Goosebumps episode is kind of slow to a halt. I watched a lot of episodes, and then I got lazy. Honestly, I haven't even been doing a whole lot worthwhile either. It's just kind of been a boring summer vacation, but I figured that I might as well get around to doing this at the very least, since it's been like 2 months now since my last video, and well, I'm not gonna go missing again, that's for sure. So yeah, this is an unscripted part of the video. I just thought I'd literally let you guys know as you're coming into the video that, yeah, I've been lazy. There are a million different ways I could write this intro. I could talk about the split fan base and how the cracks continued to grow for years to come. I could talk about how the game wasn't just a transition to 3D, it was a fundamental shift in the franchise itself. I could talk about the bugs and glitches and how it was DX's fault, but instead I'm going to ask this. What is a Sonic adventure? I know, a small intro, but I don't have much to say about Adventure's origins, and I didn't grow up with this game. The only Sonic games I grew up with is Sonic's Ultimate Genesis Collection and Sonic 4. I swear I'm a true Sonic fan. I like Sonic 3. I grew up with Sonic 4, but I still like Sonic 3. I mean, I played Adventure 2 and Unleashed a little bit, but it was always those two games that I returned to. Genesis Collection and Sonic 4. But what is a Sonic Adventure DX Director's Cut? First off, let me tell you what a dumb name that is. Like, what even is a DX Director's Cut? You should have just called it Sonic Adventure DX or Sonic Adventure Director's Cut, not both. I feel that while SADX on the GameCube used unfavorable graphics at times, I also feel like it's the second best way to play the game, and had no bugs or glitches aside from the times I got to clip through some islands in Windy Valley and some objects in Skydeck. All this happened in Tails' story though, and let's be honest, I'm not complaining. And he didn't encounter any bugs anywhere else. Also, let's get this out of the way. No, I didn't play past Twinkle Park and Big's story. Played everyone else's but Big's. It was a lot easier to download a completed save than to play through a story. I know it sucks, you know it sucks, let's move on, shall we? SADX added the 12 Game Gear games. Jesus, I didn't even realize there was that much. There's not even 12 Genesis games. It seemed to run just fine, so whatever. What am I going to talk about? The emulation quality with Game Gear game? It's a Game Gear game. They added Metal Sonic if you complete the game, which was cool considering this was before Heroes put him into the limelight again, and 60 new missions. Wow. I can totally understand preferring the original, and I do in some ways myself, but the new content is nice. So now we've got the GameCube port out of the way. Wait, what? There's more? Even worse ports. Oh no. So SADX was ported to the PC shortly after the GameCube port was released, and it's even worse. If you want a real breakdown of all the problems with the ports, Cybershell made a great video on it, but just know that if the GameCube port is bad, the PC and HD versions are horrible. So enough about the ports, let's just talk Sonic Adventure now. Sonic's Adventure starts with Tails crashing and burning in Emerald Coast. It's a pretty clear and to the point opening, and gotta save Tails, and Emerald Coast reflects that in its level design. It's a pretty linear level, but full of secrets that are fun to find. If you think there's a secret somewhere, then there definitely is one there. I found that while it isn't a one-to-one transition of 2D Sonic, my argument is, did it have to be? Look at Mario. His first 3D game, Mario 64, wasn't a one-to-one transition either. And to be honest, I like Mario 64 more than any of his Nintendo Entertainment System and Super Nintendo games. I know I just angered someone saying that. The game played fundamentally down to like every level different than those games. While it is true that there was still a focus on platforming of the older days, it wasn't what we call a course clear game, as it's now known. Instead, it started an entirely new genre, a collectathon. A genre that Sonic would never fall in or even really try. Thankfully. I would argue Sonic's Adventure is still pretty close to the level design of 3 Knuckles. Just, it's different. I get that makes no sense, but just listen to me. However, instead of being rewarded by getting higher pathways and faster routes, you get rewarded by shaving off time and skipping sections. That's what I mean. It's like throwing Knuckles, but it also rewards you in different ways. Doing the same thing, different ways. Okay, I'm just confusing the audience even more. I need to stop. The best example is this spin dash jump right at the beginning of Emerald Coast. It also makes an effort to use Sonic's physics like they did in the past, and while they do use them well, it feels different than the classics. That's not horrible, but this decision would have intense ripple effects later on, such as Unleashed in Colors. While Emerald Coast sets up the level design philosophy, Windy Valley is far too focused on visual spectacle to be a great level. Here's what I mean. You start in this platforming section where you're restricted from going fast. There are still some secrets, but they're nothing special and they're not as cleverly placed as Emerald Coast. Then you get sucked into a giant tornado where you can platform even more, but you still can't go fast. After the tornado section, you get to go fast, but you're running on long sections of rails. Overall, Windy Valley isn't anything special, but you can almost tell that this level, mostly the last section, wasn't developed for Sonic. It's almost as if there's different characters or something. But let's push that thought away for now, I'll talk about that later. Casinopolis has pinball. I'm not a huge fan of pinball, it's fine I guess, I literally have nothing to say. There's a sewer with some platforming, and there's a Knights pinball thing, yeah, fun level. I take Ice Cap as a personal attack. While it's definitely still a fun stage in its own right, I hate the new direction. The first half is fine and I like some of the platforming, but it's too focused on gimmicks like climbing and stuff like that. The second half, like fun enough, is literally just snowboarding. The snowboarding segment in 3 was fun because it was short and thoughtless, whereas this just feels pointless and overly long. Instead of a short segment about snowboarding and then a focus on platforming, it does the opposite, and it doesn't work well. Then you have to do Sky Chase. It's not as tedious as, say, the ship segments in Kingdom Hearts 1, I hate those with a passion, but it's still pretty pointless and boring. Then you lose Tails, catch up with Amy, and play Twinkle Park, which is actually pretty refreshing. Yeah, after the last, 15-30 minutes was pretty pointless and lame at times, I was actually expecting Twinkle Park to be bad too, but no, there were still mini-stage gimmicks, but they feel less intrusive than Casinopolis pinball segments. It has some speed segments and some platforming segments, and is overall a huge refresher. There are so many skips in levels, but you have to know the levels first and be able to control Sonic well. Also, this is the point where I talk about Sonic controls. He controls so well. While his turning can be a bit weird, I noticed more so in the Dreamcast version, but whatever. He controls much better than Mario did in his jump to 3D, which was super impressive. Twinkle Park was a reminder of what Emerald Coast set up, considering we've had like 30 minutes of pure fluff. It's crazy how the game lags in the middle, and then we have Twinkle Park and Speed Highway back to back. I consider these plus Emerald Coast to be the best levels in the game. Speed Highway is so big, and I get to go so fast so often. Well, duh. There's a reason why Speed Highway was chosen to represent Sonic Adventure 1 in Generations. It's so damn fun, and uses Sonic's physics extremely well. The At Dawn / City section of Speed Highway at the end feels like it's pulled right out of Sonic 3 Knuckles. And that's pretty impressive too. You can maintain the higher path with more rings and less enemies, or if you fall, follow the bottom path with less secrets and more enemies. You still get to go fast, so it doesn't fall in the same trap as, say, Windy Valley. I would argue that Fast Sonic works better in 3D. Sonic 3 Knuckles had this issue in a lot of its levels where if you went too fast then you would eventually hit something you couldn't see. Mostly in Marvel Garden, but still it happened. Sonic Adventure doesn't have this problem due to its camera being pretty decent. Definitely a lot better in Mario 64's, but it still has problems in stages like Red Mountain and Skydeck. Oh yeah, Red Mountain exists. It's not a horrible level, definitely better in Casinopolis and Lost World, but it's so forgettable. It has a more non-linear design, but it fails to capture me in any way. You also don't get to go very fast, platforming is super simple, and the level doesn't look very good. Its art style is just too red and plainish. It didn't help that it followed Speed Highway, which is one of the best levels in my opinion, and has some areas where the camera has problems. Not too much, it's not game-breaking by any means, but still, Speed Highway I didn't have any, so it's still disappointing. Doing Sky Chase again, but longer, was not a good idea. All I have to say about it, it's not good. I have a mini rant I want to go on for a little bit, and it's about how well Sonic Adventure adapted act transitions. When I went into the game, I thought that was pretty much going to be a thing of the past, dormant until, I don't know, Mania or something, I don't know. But actually, no, they still exist. One action stage is like a whole zone, and the different areas are like acts. Therefore, the amount of effort they put into the act transitions is awesome. Red Mountain is a good example, even though I just dogged on it, I get it, but you start on the outside of the mountain, then enter its lava-filled insides. Windy Valley is also a pretty good example, from a green mountain to the inside of a tornado to the inside of the clouds. But then we have Skydeck. To be honest, I don't have much nice to say about the rest of Sonic's adventure, but we're almost done, so whatever. Skydeck may or may not be the worst level in Sonic's adventure. It's as long as a Sonic Heroes level, which is not a good thing. And for most of the level anyways, it's way too easy to make a wrong move and die. I think I died like twice on this level, which was my highest record yet. Skydeck fell back on level gimmicks, which was something I thought we got past. Red Mountain doesn't even have many level gimmicks, just lava really, which I don't mind as much as gravity switching and climbing pillars. It's not a stretch to say this was the first level I actively dislike. I mean, sure, levels like Casinopolis and Ice Cap are too focused on gimmicks to be as good as Speed Highway, but I think they're okay levels. Moving past Skydeck, we get Lost World. Yay, isn't that fun? I don't like Lost World that much either. While there are some parts of the level that allow speed, I find the level quite boring. Now that wouldn't be a problem on its own, but the level is a spike in difficulty. Skydeck can be unfair times, sure, but Lost World can be flat out difficult, like Dark Souls for Sonic. Dark Souls. It can be hard at times, that's what I'm saying. The camera is also at its worst here, and I'd argue that this level is worse than Skydeck. Final Egg is a pretty good final level, actually. Definitely unfair at times, and doesn't feel like a Sonic level, but overall, it's the right way to do difficulty in a Sonic level, unlike Lost World. Sonic's final boss is horrible and almost made me cry. I'm joking, of course, for the most part. The rest of the bosses are way too easy, so that's it, right? Talked about levels, bosses, a little bit of the story, I guess. I mean, not that much, but a little bit. So all in all, Sonic's adventure is great, except for a few levels at the end. What? This joke is overused? You're typing on your keyboard in the YouTube comments section? You already know that there's more? Crap. Sonic had 10 action stages in his story. Most of the other characters only have 5 to 7 at most. That being said, I think most of the other stories are at the very least solid. Aside from Sonic's adventure, we get Tails' adventure, Knuckles' adventure, Amy's adventure, Gamma's adventure, Big's adventure, and of course the final story. While, like I said, most of these campaigns are at the very least solid, the ones that aren't are definitely bad. Very bad. Amy's adventure is pointless and a waste of time. I like her hammer. I like the uniqueness of her campaign, but it just doesn't play the way that I wanted it to. Granted, I'm just some 14-year-old on the internet, but I mean, I'm the one reviewing the game. You clearly care about my opinion, so yeah, I didn't like Amy's story. Big's adventure is horrible. We're not even going to talk about that. Tails' adventure is too easy. But the weird thing is, Tails' adventure is honestly like my second favorite other than Sonic's. The whole point of having Tails and Knuckles play different in Sonic 3 Knuckles was to give them different play styles in case you got bored of just playing as Sonic. Granted, they weren't too different, but they still played differently. Sonic Adventure takes this way too far. Sure, I like Knuckles and Gamma and Tails, but there's more characters in those three. I feel like reviewers nowadays will just go, yeah, I don't like how anyone else plays other than Sonic and Knuckles, but who cares, because I don't have to play them. When half of this game is pure trash, it's not okay to ignore it just because the other half is good. As much as it sucks to join the bandwagon, Sonic Adventure is not that good of a game. As much as I enjoy Sonic's campaign individually, and even a few others like Tails and Knuckles, I just can't go in depth on them. They're shallow. Tails is shallow, Knuckles is repetitive, Gamma's is too short. I could discuss the level design of all of them, but like, why? I prefer the 3 Emerald Radar. I'll touch on that more in Adventure 2, sure. And I prefer Tails in the air more than on the ground. I'll touch on that in Adventure 2, sure, but overall I feel Sonic Adventure 2 would fix most of the first one's problems, while creating more than enough of its own. But we'll tackle that whenever I get to that game. Sonic Adventure 2 is a perfect sequel, not even because the game is perfect, just because it fixes what Sonic Adventure 1 does wrong, even if it has its own problems, like I said. I'm sorry I didn't discuss the other campaigns as much as you probably wanted me to. I mean, I could discuss Big. He fishes, I guess. Woohoo! Character development. I may return one day to talk about him, but I will do like a mini ranking here, just because, yeah. Last place is Big's Adventure. Amy's Adventure. She's not much better than Big's. I honestly don't know why people don't complain about her as much as Big. Gamma's next. He's a definite step up. He's still kind of lame and boring, but hey, I like shooting. It definitely plays better in the mechs in Adventure 2. I like that. And his stages are designed pretty well. I also like his story, the fact that he has to, you know, essentially kill his brothers to free the animals within them, and then he dies at the end of his own. It feels isolated from the rest of the game, though, and that's why it's lower than the other two. Next and third comes Knuckles' Adventure. I like the way it laid him down, the foundation of what... Okay, not laid him down. I like the way the foundation of what, his campaign would end up becoming is laid down. However, I don't like... I'm just going to be honest. I don't like treasure hunting that much. I don't. I prefer the radar in this one. It makes it a bit easier. But overall, I still just don't like treasure hunting that much. That being said, Casinopolis is definitely his best level. And the second is Tails' Adventure. I like flying through the air, I'm not gonna lie. Even if it was the only campaign that I actually encountered bugs in, I just like the way Tails played. I wish that they actually made stages specifically for him. Platforming in the air is fun, and Speed Highway is his best level because it's more developed for him. Or at the very least, they use the area that would fit him more. I don't know, obviously number one Sonic Adventure, I just talked about like, 10 minutes why it was so good. But that's a wrap, right? I've talked about the other characters, kind of. I've talked kind of a bit about the story. It's lame. The story is essentially following Chaos. Yes, Chaos. The monster that you've seen from Sonic Forces. It's not even in Sonic Forces except for like the opening cutscene. But yeah, apparently he's like the god of the Chow or something. And he got angry because the Chow were being mistreated, I guess? I don't understand. It's not explained very well. But then he comes back and Dr. Eggman is giving him Chaos Emeralds and he gets more and more powerful. And then he turns into perfect chaos. Oh, man. But yeah. And then Sonic and the friends gotta get the Chaos Emeralds so Chaos doesn't get them all. And Knuckles gets tricked by Eggman again? What? How did he get tricked again? I don't understand that. And, Amy wants to free a bird. That's the only thing I took away from her campaign. And Big wants to find Froggy. I'm disappointed I made that joke too. Yes, you can unsubscribe. And, that's the story pretty much. That's all I took away from it. The music is okay. I don't like it as much as 3s or really even 2s. I'm gonna be honest with you. You guys can hate on me, but I just don't like... I just don't like it that much. But, yeah. Music is pretty solid, although not the best of the series by any means. Multiple tracks per action stage, with each action stage feel more like a zone. So that's a wrap, right? I've talked about pretty much everything. Ah, you fools! You forgot about Perfect Chaos! Yeah, we're talking about the final boss, baby. I wish this boss was tacked on to Sonic's story instead of it being told after every story, just so you could get a little bit of story from all of theirs. I don't get it. But either way, this final boss makes up for everything other than Big's story. As much as I would have liked 1 or 2 more Sonic levels tacked on before the final boss instead of just running around a little bit, the final boss is so epic, it makes up for it. The amazing music, easily the best of the game, the large boss, the need to keep your speed, it all fits together so well. Plus, Super Sonic controls honestly better than he did in 3, I'm not gonna lie. As much as I don't care about Station Square, seeing it flooded is kind of upsetting whenever you realize it just stays sunk. I guess it's never really touched on. Everyone in this game died. So much for lasting impact. So in conclusion, the final boss is actually pretty good. Sonic's story is great, a few other stories are good, and the rest is just trash, which honestly is disappointing. If the team didn't want to shove so many different ideas into this game, and they focused on ironing out Sonic, Tails, and maybe even Knuckles, this game would have been one of the best Sonic games. I like how default Sonic plays here. It feels like it's the vanilla template for Sonic level design. And I wish more Sonic games had Sonic levels that played like this. Even Adventure 2 doesn't play it exactly the same like this, so Sonic here is honestly one of my favorite ways of playing as him, and I love his levels. Most of them. However, due to the fact that, like I said, too many ideas weren't fleshed out, yada yada yada, every other YouTube reviewer's told you that, I give this game a 5 out of 10, I'm sorry. So yeah guys, this is actually a lot shorter than I wanted it to be, and I even included more than I originally planned on. I talked a little bit more about the other campaigns than I intended on. Anyways, thanks for watching guys. I promise you I'm picking up Steam again. I am on the day that this releases. Hopefully by the time this releases, actually thinking about it, I hopefully by then will have watched more Goosebumps episodes. And hopefully by that point too, I've almost got done with the script. And yeah. Yeah, it's actually pretty disappointing, to me even, that I didn't do as much on this as I wanted to. But yeah, I feel that I said all that I had to say about the game. I honestly just didn't really care that much about anyone other than Tails and Knuckles, even Gamma, as much as I did give him some praise. So yeah, maybe in the future I may revisit the campaigns other than Sonic's, but as of now, you got my thoughts on all of Sonic's story and a basic understanding of my thoughts on the other stories. Except for Big, it's horrible. Froggy is not worth it. But yeah, I stand stale on my ranking. It's 5 out of 10. It's, half of it's good and half of it's bad. Yeah, you get it. Guys get it. Anyways, like I said, thanks for watching. Be sure to tune in on the next one. See you guys.